Interesting subject matter that I put into the AI artificial intelligence system. I put the question: does the government use the population as puppets? The interesting response I got was yes, the government can use puppet governments or create fake online personas to manipulate populations. Now, we have to go back in history because we have to realize that the concept of democracy is not really a king or a queen or a monarch or even itself a dictator. It is based on the concept of a manipulated belief that now the king and his power is now shared amongst a treasonous population that says they want to be freed from the legal crown king or queen and now share it collectively as a voting system of participants. And so the population now shares the power that was once in the sole hands and decision making of a king or queen is now shared amongst all those in the collective. Ridiculous concept. Makes no sense, anyways. Voting is stupid in the sense of that God doesn't need you to vote for him. So, in a divine sense, he's not asking you, he dictates what is right for his creation, and he expects that you would have a brain, an intelligence, and a heart that would listen. Therefore, your fidelity is absolutely expected, but he gives you free choice because you're not a robot. So you have the ability to do what is either right or what is wrong. If you choose what is wrong, you're under the rule of law. When you do what is right, you're under the supremacy of God. So it shouldn't surprise you that even in a legal charter that Canada basically has put into place, the Canadian government has stated in their charter for their ship of their citizenship that Canada was founded upon principles that recognize, basically the supremacy of God and the rule of law. Now, if you're not acting under the supremacy of God, which would be only operating in natural truth and under the free grace of his son, well, then you'd be ultimately going to be controlled under the rule of law, positive law, man's law. So it literally is the same choice in the Garden of Eden, whether you would choose to refrain from touching the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, following God's command, or will you choose the tree of life? Both are trusts. Tree actually relates to the word trust, very unique word in its etymology, but when we don't understand the words, we don't understand the meaning, at times it may seem I'm wasting my time on here with a general common audience. I'm only hopeful that they will take the time and the due diligence to listen to what we're sharing. So, when asked, does the government use the population as puppets? Well, it came out as yes, governments can use puppet governments or create fake online personas to manipulate populations. Well, what do you think they're going to a digital system? It will manipulate ultimately the population through an online persona because that's generally how people communicate or comprehend in a legal system acting as a natural legal surname person to be a participant as a legal dummy. One who holds legal title for another. So when your natural name is holding legal title for a legal state surname, you are the dummy. And you have basically not seen the warning in Proverbs 11:15. He who is surety for another, which is a stranger, will surely smart for it. Strangers in Hebrew, the word for another, meant not only an addition, which is what a surname is, but it also identified or marked someone of an uncovenanted nation, one who knows not the true God. That was the definition of gentilitius, or surname, out of Samuel Johnson's dictionary, 1755. We have to be careful of what we're doing and what we think we're doing out of necessity. That is a matter of conscience. Only you can basically come forward with knowledge of God, which is conscience. You can check out that definition, Black's Law Fourth. So, when we look into puppet governments, it says a puppet government is a government that is controlled by an outside authority. Well, it sounds like banking, because under eminent domain, a legal dictator or crown authority, or what appears to be emulating or personifying the legal position of a monarch or king or queen, which is what Government of Canada is. It personifies the authority of His Majesty, in previous Her Majesty. Therefore, it's in person, it's wearing the mask, and therefore it is in a position to place under eminent domain the entire concept of democracy into the hands of a banking realm, with or without, basically, the authority of basically this collective population that thought they could vote. Because the authority they were granted, be careful where it came from, because you were granted this by an imperfect ruler, a crown authority, someone who claimed to be noble, but they're in legal nobility. They're not in natural nobility. The outside authority may impose hardships on the people of the puppet government. Well, welcome to all the things you've experienced. Gasoline prices, barely able to pay the rent, inflation on food, everything you've ever seen, all over the map, but yet you at times seem to defend this type of system. As long as you have the ability to obtain wealth in it, you generally won't care about the people down below who are not having a good day with it. Well, you're maybe about to experience a change in affairs in the world of having adultery with the legal state, with what is now happening with the United States under its regime, because it's about to experience Trumpery, as I have explained, or about to explain it in the next video. You will see that. So, examples of puppet governments include nations in the past, such as what they would call North Korea and Cuba, and which were controlled by the Soviet Union. But we have to look at it. What really marks a puppet government? Maybe you just need to go and look at what I just read back to you. So it's a very, very concerning situation. But aren't really all these puppet states of an evil master, Satan, who had offered all the kingdoms at the time he was tempting Christ before he fulfilled the will of his Father by literally sending him to literally blot out and erase all legal indebtedness that anybody would have had that reflected what Adamic sin had brought in. So God, in his good judgment and in his conscience, which is where we get our conscience from, saw it to be unfair to put that burden upon all the population that would have inherited that sin, and therefore he sent his only begotten Son and only asked you to bring your loyalty and fidelity to him, except that he had canceled it, and that you were going to forsake all. That means everything to do with a false persona, legal civil status, in order to serve truly your Creator and his anointed Son, Jesus Christ.